Tom Clark's 6M podcast is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
Hey, what is up? Welcome to Tom Clark's 6M podcast. I'm your host, Tom Clark, and in this episode, I'm joined by co-host Phil Lindsey.
So, depending on when you're listening to this, you may or may not know that the previous 3 episodes before this one were the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy. That's right, kids. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. All 3, and we don't always do that, folks. And when we've done it in the past, we'll hold on to those episodes and release them, like sporadically here and there. I'm like, you know what? Let's change it up. So we did all 3 and released them consecutively. They're in the archives now. Please go check them out. But if you know that trilogy, you know it's pretty heady stuff. It's pretty dramatic. It's pretty serious. The Oscar-winning Batman franchise from Christopher Nolan. And a lot of intensity there. And we were here for it. Again, archives, go check them out. So when it came time for this episode, you know what? It's the hills and it's the peaks and the valleys of the podcasting game. Yeah. It's like a great pro wrestling card. You bring them up and you let them down easy, let them relax. Then you bring them up again, then you let them down easy. That's what we're doing here, because today we're doing a comedy, and you saw the thumbnail, you know what you're in for. This is Blades of Glory, and I'm so anxious to talk about this. I'm anxious to talk about the cast, the silliness, and if you think you're going to get a lot of deep thoughts, you're going to be in for a big disappointment, because this is just going to be fun. We're just going to talk about the jokes, the one-liners, the ridiculous situations, because they are plenty. And can't wait to talk about it. So let's get into it, shall we? Blades of Glory is a 2007 American sports comedy film directed by Will Speck and Josh Gordon, written by Jeff Cox, Craig Cox, John Alschuler, and Dave Krinsky, and starring an assorted cast of actors. And we're going to get to it. Can't wait to dive in. And if you know the movie, then you know that this tells the story of a mismatched pair of band of figure skaters who become teammates upon discovering a loophole that will allow them to compete in the sport again. The film story was conceived by Busy Phillips, who fleshed out the screenplay. However, co-writers Jeff and Craig Cox dropped her name from the script. The film was produced by DreamWorks Pictures, MTV Films, Red Hour Films, and Smart Entertainment. It was released on March 30th, 2007 by Paramount Pictures. The budget for this, $61 million. The box office, $145.7 million. And that, kids, is your lowdown for Blades of Glory. So, Phil, we've mentioned Will Ferrell here before on the pod. I don't know that we've actually dove in all that hard and heavy on Will, but I think you and I have said, and we have agreed on this, I believe, he can be hit or miss. Some of his movies, you really dig them. The next one, you're like, it's not for me. He's just one of those guys. But what do you think, man, overall, of this silliness, this farce called Blades of Glory?
Yeah, what a great movie. Whether you like Will Ferrell or not, guy undeniably went on an incredible run. This movie was definitely one of those big movies from that run. Influential movie. Of course, one of the lines is used in Watch the Thrones. Made this joke when we talked about doing the episode, because I immediately thought of, we're going to skate to one song and one song only, and that's the beginning of Ends in Paris, which is a great record, which you would not think that matches with this at all. And I still sometimes while I listen to it, think like, what made them think of referencing Blades of Glory?
Isn't that odd?
But I guess it's the idea of those two teaming up together and kind of the same theme of the movie of you having somebody that is cool and calm and collected in some ways and is renowned for their technical skill and dealing with somebody that is very irrational.
Man, you just made a lot of sense of this nonsense. That was really good. Yeah. Dude, I love this movie. I've always got a kick out of it. It's again, maybe I shouldn't speak for you or anybody else when I said what I said previously. Like for me, he's hit and miss, hit or miss. Like to this day, I don't understand the hoopla over Anchorman. And maybe that's not a popular comment. To be fair, I haven't watched it in years and I've only seen it one time.
I love Anchorman. One of the most quotable comedies for me. I think about it all the time. Um, this burrito is good but filling. I love Anchorman.
I got to give it a try again, man. Maybe I'm just not being fair to it. So, for you, when did Will Ferrell first get on your radar? Do you remember? Was it SNL?
Probably SNL. Some of the movies that they were making coming out of that time period, of course, like Night at the Roxbury, Superstar, a lot of other stuff that he was in that was initially skit from that show.
Yeah. One of the best straight men I've ever seen. I've seen him not break character. You can get him occasionally, but man, he seems like he's hard to get.
Yeah. Yeah, he can do both. He could be a very great straight man. He could be very silly as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's awesome. I think he's awesome here, and the chemistry he has with the cast is fantastic. And a freaking figure skating movie, dude. Like, what are we talking about? But like, man, they made it work. It's goofball, and it's absolutely nuts in parts. The ending is utterly ridiculous, but it's so good. Like, I'm just here for it. This is one of those movies, honestly, I could watch all the time. It would never get old to me, dude.
Yeah, no, very funny movie. I think it works because it's so silly and it's so ridiculous. And the leads are so good together. They have such great chemistry.
They do, for sure. And kids, if you've seen this one, you know that Will Ferrell is, of course, the lead of this film. Chaz Michael Michaels, best name ever, professional skater. And he's got the hair and the sort of the old 80s hair metal vibe going for him. And he's supposed to be like a renegade and a rebel and ladies man and like the rock star of the figure skating world. It's one of those weird cliche archetypes, Phil, that like they just managed to shove it up into the world of a figure skating comedy. I thought it was great. I thought it fit too. It fits him as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely does. Chaz Michael Michaels sounds like a regular show character. Everything about him kind of feels like a regular show character as well.
Oh my God, it does. It so does. I don't know if I ever would have put that together, but it so does. Yeah. Yeah. And, it makes sense to have like rivals, arch rivals in this movie because he's got an arch rival. But like, man, he's just, again, I think this is one of his better films, dude. I genuinely think this is one of his better films. I don't know if it gets enough props. Does it? I mean, how often do you ever hear this movie really talked about?
No, I feel like when you think of Will Ferrell and the runaway hits that people talk about, it's always either Old School or Anchorman
Hmm.
or Step Brother. I don't know if this is one. Like I feel like even people I see sometimes bring up Semi Pro more than this one.
I like Semi Pro, but I like this movie much better.
I think this is better than Semi Pro as well. I can't remember the name of the movie where he's coaching the kids soccer team. That one's also very very funny.
Yeah. Well, there's Get Hard in 2015. God, man, he's got a big career, dude.
Yeah. Also, Other Guys, which is incredible. Funniest
Right.
movies ever. Other Guys is amazing.
Did you get into the Daddy's Home stuff? I couldn't get into those movies.
I've seen it, but I can't say it's my favorite.
Yeah. The sequel, like they've got Mel Gibson playing Wahlberg's dad, and of course John Lithgow is Will Ferrell's dad. Like from an aesthetic point of view, it fits. It's believable. But due to this day, I think they should have reversed it John Lithgow should have been Wahlberg's. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because that, to me, that's funnier. But, you know, they went the other route. So, once again, they didn't call me and ask me my opinion. Go figure that. Speaking of the guy that he is playing opposite of in this film, John Heder. Man. Are you a Napoleon Dynamite guy, Phil? Did you like that flick?
Yeah, I think it's a very funny movie. But yeah, this and Napoleon Dynamite are really his claim to fame. Really, Napoleon Dynamite is his claim to fame.
Mhm.
And I think in some ways he got kind of typecast after that movie. And I thought him in this movie, he was very funny. I thought he had great chemistry here with Will Ferrell. Uh, there are a bunch of things where, again, it's so stupid and ridiculous. The initial montage when they're explaining his backstory
Mhm.
and he's in the locker room doing all those poses, and then it cuts in on him, and he's talking about his childhood growing up. It's so funny. It's so funny to me.
I guess you could say I had a pretty normal childhood. And it shows him on the treadmill with the oxygen and the tubes coming out of him. Because, like, his adopted father's training him to be a figure skater. Absolute nonsense. But yeah, the way they're both brought up, it's both very different guys. And again, Chaz Michael Michaels is, you know, the Bon Jovi character, you know, like that's his jam or whatever. Again, hair metal. But like, I love it. I love the duality of this. Like, I love the opposites. I love how the characters complement each other. They're both equally goofball, but you know, you get the sense that Chaz is a little bit more goofball, of course,
Yeah.
than Hader's character for sure. McElroy, you know, and the amount of leather that Will Ferrell wore in this movie too. Can we address that right off the bat? Man, awesome, dude. Jimmy McElroy. So you got Michaels and McElroy, and that actually works together as the movie goes on when they actually start skating together. Freaking nuts, man! But I love it. I was here for both of these guys, dude. I think this is one of Heater's better movies, actually.
Yeah, I agree.
They a little bit of backstage stuff here for you kids. Heder and Farrell both learned how to ice skate for this movie. They trained with Michelle Kwan's coach and learned how to do it. So that's pretty cool. Um, also, supposedly, according to the writers, a large chunk of the dialogue from Will Ferrell in this movie is improvised or changed in some way to suit the character. That's not surprising to me at all.
Yeah, no, that doesn't quite surprise me. Some of this dialogue is absolutely ridiculous.
It is. And what's funny is that Ben Stiller was originally considered for the role of Chaz, but he decided the character was too much like the other roles he played. Boy, he's not wrong about that. Can you envision Ben Stiller here, man?
I can, but I can see why he turned it down.
Hmm. That's another guy to me that like some of his movies are hit or miss for me, man.
Yeah, when he's got a hit, he's got a hit. But I feel like he has done characters that are very similar. I mean, really, Will Ferrell's done very similar characters where he's kind of like a sleazy or chauvinistic character that
Yeah.
by the end of the movie, you learn that he's kind of got a heart of gold. I mean, that's really Anchorman. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just it's a little more subtle with some of the like the trashy stuff at the beginning, but
When they haven't seen each other for 3.5 years, and he's like, I see you got fat. I see you still look like a 15-year-old girl, but not hot. You know, it's crap like that. The stuff that he's saying is, oh my God. Troubled childhood. If you consider a 9-year-old with a 35-year-old girlfriend troubled. Jesus Christ. That's awesome. Yeah, again, I think they're great together here, man. Look, I'll be honest with you. I'm more than a little surprised that these two guys have not done anything together since then. You know what I mean? It seems like a pairing that you would exploit and do another movie, if not a sequel to this, something else with both of them in it, you know?
yeah, I agree. They had such great chemistry that I could see them doing something else. Maybe they just both decided cool as a one and done. Because
Mm.
really, Peter hasn't done that much where he's a leading character anymore after this and Napoleon Dynamite.
I don't know what he's even doing these days. I really have no idea. I can't even say that I know he's still in the game. I don't. Maybe he's not because I'm not sure what all he's done. Let's see. Actually, he's still acting. He's doing some voice acting, which he's got a very distinctive voice, dude. There's no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I think he's funny, man. I think if that's what he wants to do, that's fine. But I kind of miss him being in something, dude. I think he's really good. But yeah, the interactions between these two is awesome, and the little random stuff they have Chaz saying is absolutely ridiculous.
Boink Studios is the home of Tom Clark's main event, Tom Clark's 6M podcast, and Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. Visit the site today for links to every podcast platform, social media, special announcements, and a lot more. Check out the site and bookmark today, boinkstudios.com.
There's the bit where I think it's when they qualify, I think, to actually enter competition, and you hear them cheering, and they're in Denver, and as they're cheering, Chaz looks up and says, "We love you, Denver, city by the bay." Like, what? And then he yells, John Denver. Yeah. It's like, what was that?
Yeah, one of my favorite lines from this movie that it makes absolutely no sense. When they're getting ready to do their first routine as a pair, and McElroy's like, they're laughing at us. He's like, yeah, they laughed at Louis Armstrong too, but now he's up there laughing at them.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so good. The coach says, you get a lot of satisfaction from those $15 hookers? And Chaz says, I'm never satisfied. Then he stops. He's like, it's a curse. Freaking ridiculous. Oh, and of course, the get out of my face. I'll get inside your face. Dumb. God, it's dumb. It's a good kind of dumb, though, Phil. It's a dumb I can stomach. Some dumb I can't stomach. This stuff is so good, man. Highly quotable.
But yeah, of course, the scene of him on the treadmill while Coach and McElroy are eating dinner. And that's, of course, where the line comes from. We're going to skate to one song and one song only. My Lady Humps by Black Eyed Peas. It's so ridiculous. My humps. My lovely lady lumps.
What does it even mean? No one knows what it means, but it's provocative. Gets the people going. Oh, my God. And then they didn't do it. It was disappointing to me that they didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, which both their songs they go with fit. So it's fine.
Sure. Yeah. Oh my God. We're going to be quoting all day on this. We had to talk about also the brother-sister combo of Strauss von Waldenberg and Fairchild von Waldenberg. Best names ever. This is Will Arnett and Amy Poehler, respectively. Will Arnett, that freaking face, man. He's got a face made for comedy. When they go up like on camera and stuff, and they're getting talked to by reporters. He's just got this presence about him, like he's kind of creepy, but he's kind of superficial, and he's kind of dumb at the same time. It's so great, man.
Yeah, they're both funny together. Also, of course, SNL alum.
Yep.
Their first routine they do together to the Marky Mark song, and their outfits are so ridiculous. And he's got the braids, the sideways hat. It's so ridiculous. And the entire time he's like trying to keep this straight face with all of this stuff on. It's so funny. He does several things in this movie where you're right. His facial expressions completely sell everything he's doing.
Yeah, God. What's funny is he won't even have a line, and something else is happening on camera. But if you just watch him, he is freaking hilarious, man.
Yeah.
Just his expressions, his body language.
Yeah. Amy is also very, very funny. Again, Saturday Night alum. Her outbursts at several times where she like blows up on him or somebody else. It's so funny.
Yeah. Not only did we embarrass Marky Mark, we let down the Funky Bunch. Oh my God. Yeah, the two of them together. And they have a weird moment at the end.
Yeah.
Jesus, that's great. And no one seems to really bump into it. There's not that much, like shock and awe as there should have been, I think.
Yeah, just random incest, but all right.
Yeah. Ugh. And the moment where they're talking to their sister about how to split up Michaels and McElroy, and she's like, nothing breaks up a team faster than herpes, jealousy, right? He thought he had the answer. Oh my God, so good. And when the anchor's talking to him, says, and how heavy is that gold around your necks? She says, Scott, this may be solid gold, but to us it's lighter than air because dreams never weigh you down. And he says, no, dreams are in your sleep. So stupid. And I mean, as enemies, they're great because like they've had the male female, the mixed part, whatever you're calling this in the figure skating realm. They've had this sewn up like they're the champions. You just take it for granted like they win all the time. And then here comes these two guys deciding to skate together, and of course they're going to be all kinds of upset. So it makes sense in this weird way that they're going to be natural rivals. So I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
So William Fichtner. And Phil, we just talked about this guy in the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy. He was in The Dark Knight working in the bank when the Joker and his guys bust in. He's the one that had the shotgun.
Yes.
Oh, it's so good. Darren McElroy. What about when he goes to see Jimmy McElroy as a kid at the orphanage and he sees him skating? He goes, I want that one. Like he's picking out a dog or something.
Yeah, he fits this role perfectly where he's supposed to be this cold millionaire that went and got him and basically treats him like a racehorse.
Yes.
And then when he can no longer compete, he just completely disowns him. Again, like a racehorse. He just kicks him out.
Yeah. Disowns him, throws him out of the car. My God, right there in the middle of the road. Oh, that's awesome. Let's see. Craig T. Nelson as Coach Darren Goddard. Also played coach as on the series named Coach. Dude,
Yes.
Craig T. Nelson is so freaking good in this movie. Like a straight man next to all the nonsense going on around him. He plays his role perfectly. And I don't know how you humanize a movie like this because it's so silly. But if there's one guy that can do it, I guess it's maybe him. I thought he was great in this movie, man.
Yeah. Legend Craig T. Nelson, of course, coach, all time. I don't know if I would say all time great. Let me dial back that a little bit because I was ready to hype up Coach a little bit more than it probably needed to be. But yeah, a lot of nostalgia that comes with that sitcom. And so
Sure.
when I first saw this movie, and I was like, wait, it's actually the coach, like the coach.
Yes.
So yeah, that was a great addition to this movie. I thought he fit perfectly. Of course, Craig T. Nelson is also Mr. Incredible.
He is. Yeah. And roles in legendary films. Stir Crazy, Poltergeist, All the Right Moves, Action Jackson, Turner and Hooch, The Devil's Advocate. I mean, big time roles on TV dramas like The District,
Yeah,
and yeah, on My Name Is Earl as well. He's done everything, man.
absolute legend. Has done sitcoms, has done TV, like you said, has done big animated movies, done big feature films.
Mhm.
Absolute legend.
Oh God, his career started in '71, and he's still going. Good for him. Yeah, and then as we know, Incredibles 3 is on the way.
Are they making that?
They are making that. They announced it at D23, I believe.
Pixar.
Yeah.
They've just decided, no, hey, look, we used to be known for this innovative studio that had all these new ideas. No, we're just gonna keep throwing sequels at you now.
Ah, a little bit of shade. I'm here for it.
Listen, man, had this perfect ending, this Toy Story 3. Why not make 2 more?
Oh yeah, no. I'm with you on that.
Because money, why not?
Yeah,
Everybody likes money, right?
that part 3 of that franchise ended perfectly. I don't need to see anything else.
Yeah, and I enjoyed 4. I thought 4 was fine, but we didn't need another one, and we definitely don't need the 5th film.
No chance, no way, no how. I don't get that either. Totally don't get that. Let's see, Romany Malco, who is Jesse, who's the coach's assistant. This guy's great, man. Like I've loved him in everything he's done. I mean, he's been in was it Think Like a Man, Think Like a Man 2. He was also a character in a show called A Million Little Things on ABC. Great character.
Yeah,
Really good actor.
I thought you were going to bring up that other show that he was on about the supers, and he was Michael Chiklis' friend. He's also in that show.
Oh my God, I forgot all about that one.
Yeah, he was on there. He was, of course, in 40-Year-Old Virgin. That is the
Mhm.
thing that I think about with him all the time because I think about the scene with him and Kevin Hart at Smart Tech all the time.
Mhm.
Very, very funny scene. Of course, also, he played MC Hammer, made for TV film.
I thought he was great in that, by the way. Can I say that out loud? I thought he was great
great.
in that. Yeah,
He was.
really good. Here's something I didn't know. He wrote the rap lyrics for the character of MC Scat in Opposites Attract by Paula Abdul.
I did not know that. What a random piece
What a-
of trivia.
Very, very random.
That's very funny. And now that I think about it, I can almost hear it in his voice. That's funny.
Yeah. Very, very random. Wow. I love this guy, dude. I honestly like if you've never dove into A Million Little Things, it's worth your time. Like the whole I won't give anything away, but the whole show starts off with a huge tragedy. And like I think it kind of went off the rails by the last season, in my opinion. Because they kind of, in my estimation, kind of lost focus of what the show was supposed to be about to begin with. But he was always good in it. I really enjoyed his work in there. So, dude, we didn't get enough of him in this movie. I was kind of hoping for a bigger part here.
Yeah, he was great in the little bit that we do see him in.
Mm-hmm. We also have Nick Swartzen as Hector. Nick is a funny guy, Phil. He is great in this. Hector is creepy, an obsessive fan. Like, he's the one that gives Jimmy the idea of figures pair skating instead of single skating. Like, he's great. And like, he's obsessed with Jimmy. And I love how he tells him on the way out of the room, "Oh, I'm still totally going to kill you one day." He just walks out.
Yeah,
You're like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, still going to totally kill you and wear your skin as a mask one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So freaking great, man.
Yeah, he's great. And the climax in the movie where they're doing the Iron Lotus and they're showing all the reactions and then it cuts to him and he has Jimmy's outfit from the beginning of the movie on.
Yes.
So funny.
Like somehow he got his hands on it. So freaking good, man. Yeah, he's an odd little character to have in here, but he serves a purpose and he fits. He fits. It's a odd, unique little character, but it works, man. It works. So yeah, I was here for it. I can't say that I've been a big fan of this guy outside of this movie. I've seen his stand up. It's not bad.
Yeah.
But I know he's done stuff with Adam Sandler, I believe, in one of those 2 or 3 of his films, I think. I think at this point he's kind of a Sandler guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's done quite a bit of Sandler stuff. I know that he was in he's in another movie with John Heder, Benchwarmers.
That's right.
Yeah.
Benchwarmers is a good little flick. It's
funny.
It's got Rob Schneider in it. Rob Schneider is completely off the rails at this point. But
yes.
yeah, he's gone. He's completely gone, and he can stay gone, in my opinion. But hey, different topic for another time. But that's not a bad little movie either.
But yeah, he's been in a lot of Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah. We also had Jenna Fisher. If you guys know The Office, you know who Jenna Fisher is. Katie von Waldenberg. She is Strauss and Fairchild's sister.
And she is not a whore.
She is not a whore, yeah. Oh, it's great. That bit in the hotel room where he just puts his hands on her breast and he just holds them there. Like, she's so crazy awkward and doesn't have any clue how to do any of this. And they're making her do it. They're blaming her for the death of their parents. Freaking ridiculous, man.
Yeah. Will Ferrell is so funny in that scene where he's just like, "We're not doing anything." He's got his hands on her breast the whole time, like, "We're not doing anything."
Yeah. And he calls him like 40 times. Leaves all these voicemails that night.
What is he saying when he's running out the door? Sex demon.
Yeah. Impure. Yeah.
Sex
unclean.
Demon.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's like tripping over all these things trying to catch him.
Yeah. Because it's kind of cool when these two guys start getting along. Like, as funny as they are when they hate each other, it's kind of cool when they get along. But then, of course, we know the villains are going to get to them somehow.
Yes.
Oh, my God. Yeah. So many great moments here. Like, and we're kind of bouncing all over the place here. But it's all right because this movie's fun. Let's see. When he's doing that, the only job he can get is in that skating show. And Bryce, the character Bryce, comes out and says, "Are you drunk?" And he says, "No, but this ought to do it." Because like he breaks that ball of liquor and just waterfalls it out of the bottle. Freaking ridiculous. He said, "I'd fire you if you weren't so GD beautiful out there." He's like, you smell like urine. And Chaz goes, "A lot." Ridiculous. And that dude, the bit where he's out there with that big head on, he throws up inside the head is freaking great, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's one of the best moments of the movie, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. There are several bits with him that are funny. Their initial fight on the podium, that gets them banned. They get banned by Mr. Feeney.
Yes.
And then their second fight, which is the thing that convinces their coach that, hey, these guys would be an excellent pair.
Right. See, Fairchild says, two men skating together in another division, no less. Why, Strands? Why is God singling us out to the greatest suffering the world has ever known? I don't know, sis. Those two are just a couple of freaks. And she's like, yeah, and the media loves freaks. Their dialogue is absolutely nonsense, just there to be laughed at, because that's all it is. But that's fine. Like, it's great, but it's ridiculous at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's what makes their eventual kiss at the end of the movie kind of this funny payoff of them. The entire movie kind of like turning their nose up at everything. Like, those guys, two men skating together, tuh. And they're like incestuous brother and sisters. On top of that, they're like judging everybody else.
Yes. Yeah, we don't know about that crap till the end, of course, but yeah, it's great, man. He tells Jimmy tells Chaz, he says, you ruined my dreams. Chaz goes, dreams? I haven't had one of those in years. Jimmy's like, zip it, Chaz. Just zip it or I'll punch you in your crap lousy face. And he goes, all right, this ends tonight. Jimmy goes, it's daytime, you douche. Like, even their arguments are, yeah, weak but funny at the same time. Tom Clark's 6M podcast is sponsored in part by Radius Law Group. Every day, Radius helps individuals, families, small businesses, and nonprofit organizations throughout North Carolina, Florida, and Pennsylvania resolve their legal issues by providing effective legal counsel in the areas of estate planning, as well as elder law and Medicaid. Radius Law holds the radical belief that working with a lawyer can indeed be enjoyable. So give them a call at 1-800-519-5667 for more information and tell them that Tom Clark's 6M podcast sent you. By the way, did you ever get into The Office?
No, I've seen episodes of it, but I didn't watch it regularly.
To be fair, I was told by more than one person that it's not till like season 2 or 3 it really caught fire and got really good. But like, I watched the first few episodes of season 1, I think, maybe 4 or 5, and I'm like, I don't get this. I don't know why people love this show so much. So maybe that's something else I need to give a shot to. Who knows? We've also got a bunch of cameos here. Scott Hamilton, who was a figure skater in his day, he cameos here. We also have Brian Boitano. What did Brian Boitano do, Phil? Dorothy Hamill and Peggy Fleming as judges. We also get some other skaters. Nancy Kerrigan is here. He's hitting on her. I love that Chaz is openly hitting on Nancy Kerrigan. I was here for that.
Yeah, and I mean that is also funny that that's kind of their dynamic in a lot of ways. That Chaz is essentially Tanya Harding in some ways, if you really think about it. And then, McElroy is Kerrigan.
That's right. Not bad. We mentioned Bryce earlier. That's Rob Corduroy. He's always good. Very funny guy. And you mentioned Commissioner Ebers. That is William Daniels, of course. Also the voice of Kit from Knight Rider.
Yes.
Got to point that out. Luke Wilson, out of the blue, as a sex class counselor. Where'd that even come from?
Yeah, that was an interesting cameo out of nowhere. I think the best skater cameo is when he throws his jockstrap when he comes back and changes his clothes.
Yeah.
What is this skater's name that catches it? She's just like, "Woo! I love you, Chaz," and she's like flicking it in the air. Hilarious.
She goes nuts. Yeah. Well, again, like the cameos for a movie like this, and it makes a lot of sense, honestly. The fact that these two guys learn how to skate cracks me up because I didn't know that. Because you can tell when they're doing like the triple axles and all those spins and stuff on the ice, you can tell the face is CG'd onto the body.
Yes.
And that's fine. Like, you don't expect these guys, but I didn't know they actually learn how to skate either.
I think that makes all of the scenes of them doing the big performances even funnier because you can tell it's not them doing it.
Yeah.
And so when it zooms out and it has like the stuntman doing it, it just looks so funny.
The Iron Lotus, absolutely ridiculous. And he's like, and the coach was telling him about this move, and he's like, I had to go to the one place, crazy enough, and he's like, North Korea. And Will Ferrell's like, of course, as if he already knew. Like, yep, that makes total sense. Oh my God. And was Chaz making out with somebody in the stands? I think it was when they were competing against each other.
Yeah.
Because he skated up to that blonde and licked her face, didn't he? Something like that.
And that's why these seats are so expensive, because
Yeah.
everybody wants the Chaz Michaels experience.
He's like, that was disgusting. He's like, that young man is how babies are made. Oh, his dialogue is fantastic. Chaz says, hey, McElroy, was that your routine or a performance of Cirque du Soleil? Besides, you're too late. They already handed out the girls' medals this morning. That's really good.
Yeah, his initial performance is pretty funny. He comes down, he has like the peacock outfit on.
Yes.
He releases a dove from out of nowhere, out of his leotard.
And Chaz always has fire, and it's never explained how Chaz has fire all the time.
Boom.
Boom. Yeah. What about that? The mid credits scene, Nick Swartzen with the little dolls doing the voices. That is some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen, man.
Yeah, that scene is also very hilarious. He's doing like that crowd noise for them.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, hey, take good care of him, okay? I will. Boom. High five. Like, that's the voice he uses for Chaz the whole time.
Boom.
Yeah.
I think it's just how he says it. It's just so monotone. Boom.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I could just quote Will Ferrell's lines through the whole episode because it's so great. He tells the coach, there's 2 men skating. That's a riot, a laugh riot. Coach says, I don't see what's so funny. He goes, if you're as drunk as me, you would. Oh, my God. And when he tells Jimmy, he says, the night is a very dark time for me. He says, it's dark for everyone, moron. Not for Alaskans or dudes with night vision goggles. Yeah. Let's see who else we've got. Andy Richter shows up at the end as a Mountie.
Yeah. It's very random.
Yeah, I like Andy. Did you ever watch? He had a sitcom. What was the name of that? Was it Andy Richter Saves the Universe or something like that? I remember what. Andy Richter Controls the Universe.
Yeah,
he's a funny guy, man. So yeah, it again, a lot of cameos here, kids. The production, the film was based on Busy Phillips' idea. This is what we talked about in the intro. This is where it kind of gets weird. She worked on the screenplay. However, in an oral history about the movie for Nerdist, Craig Cox fully attributed the idea of Blaze of Glory to his brother, Jeff Cox. The oral history has since been updated with information about Phillips' contributions. Phillips discussed the incident in her memoir, This Will Only Hurt a Little, stating that she should be credited as a co-writer in the credits and that she had registered the idea with the Writers Guild of America West at its inception, having come up with the concept, even suggesting Will Ferrell as one of the 2 co-leads. While she and then boyfriend Craig were watching television together, there's the problem. They were together. That's what happened. Yeah, I was wondering where all that was coming from. They were watching television together when he visited her in Vancouver during production of White Chicks. Seth Rogen has also said that he and his writing partner Evan Goldberg wrote a draft of the screenplay that included some of the biggest jokes featured in the finished movie, but they're ultimately fired and did not receive any credit. I did not know that.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's see. The film grossed $33 million on its opening weekend on March 30th to April 1st, 2007, defeating Disney's Meet the Robinsons to become the #1 film. God, 2007 feels like a lifetime ago.
It does.
Man alive. I cannot believe it's been that long for this film.
Yeah. Meet the Robinsons is a great movie, by the way.
There again, that's one of those I think I may have only seen one time. Something else I'm going to have to go check back into. I might start making a list of stuff that I've not watched in a while or maybe have not watched, period. Look, you were talking about Will Ferrell's run earlier. Look, even if you didn't like the movies, you know the names. Like, Old School was 2003. That was arguably, well, not arguably, that was his breakout hit because Elf came in the end of 2003. And that really put him on the map. Then Anchorman was 2004. He had a role in The Producers in 2005, Bewitched in 2005. Kicking and Screaming was the Coach movie.
Yes. I forgot he was in Bewitched.
Yeah, same. And Stranger Than Fiction in 2006. Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby. I freaking love that movie. It's as silly as this is, honestly.
Don't you put that evil on us, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that evil on us.
Oh, my God. Oh, such a great movie. He did that Curious George movie in 2006, and he did the voice work in that. Man, his really good voice work as what's the character called? The man in the yellow hat, I think is what they call him, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that movie. My kid was into it. He got into it, and we watched it quite a bit because of him. Blades of Glory, of course, in 07. Semi-Pro in 08. Listen, Blades of Glory in 07. Semi-Pro in 08. Step Brothers in 08. Land of the Lost in 09. We don't got to talk about that. Everything Must Go in 2010. The Other Guys in 2010. Megamind. Phil, Megamind is a highly underrated movie, dude. One of my favorite animated movies ever.
Megamind is great.
The Campaign in 2012. The Campaign is wild, okay?
It's a mess.
Yeah. Oh, man. Zach Galifianakis is awesome, dude. And then Anchorman 2 in 2013. The Lego Movie in 2014. Every time you think maybe he's hitting his stride or, what's going to happen now, he has another hit. Like, that was a hit, dude.
Yeah.
Get Hard 2015. Daddy's Home in 2015. Zoolander 2. I never got into the Zoolander films. Did you?
The first one is really, really funny. And he's very funny in it as Mugatu. The second one is okay, but it's not nearly as funny as that first one.
He did a Christmas movie with Ryan Reynolds in 2022 called Spirited. Brother, I could not get into that movie for nothing. I tried. I was not here for that film, dude. And I just assumed I was going to love it. I assumed incorrectly, for sure. Not a great movie, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen that.
It's a musical. I mean, you know how I feel about musicals.
Yeah. I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's not for me. Not for me. I love how you've got, and I'm trying to remember his name because he's on the call with Scott Hamilton, but they're calling the action and he says, women's skating champion Sasha Cohen catches Michael's jockstrap.
Yeah, that's who it was. Sasha Cohen. I could not think of who it was.
Yeah. Jimmy McElroy releases a dove into the air after his skating routine, right? It's so important to remember that dove was in his suit the whole time. Well, again, kids, we tried to warn you at the outset. If you were tuning in hoping for something deep and meaningful, you're not getting it here. And when he says, Jimmy McElroy stands alone, and you got to wonder what's going on, he says, well, this is Rice without Montana, Ali without Frazier, Han Solo without Chewbacca. Yeah. And the bit with the meeting where they send her in, the sex addicts meeting is freaking great, dude. Because like Luke Wilson's character is trying to keep everybody calm. It's so good, man. He pulls up in his car and like blows his horn and says, all right, that's enough. Knock it off. And people are getting up, pulling their pants back up and stuff because they're all making out and like even in the bushes.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
Oh, man. Yeah. I actually let my niece and nephew watch this flick a couple, 2-3 weeks ago. I still don't know how it went over with them, but I hadn't seen it in a while, so I'm like cracking up through the whole movie. I mean, is this more of a dude bro movie, you think, or can this just work for everybody, man?
Yeah, I don't know how it would go over with a younger audience, but yeah, very silly movie, very funny.
Yeah, yeah. Again, it's just I think it's one of Will Ferrell's better movies for sure. He says, when they're competing and it turns out they're tied. Chaz says, "Eat that, McElroy," and Jimmy goes, "Those are the same scores I got, Einstein. We're tied." Chaz goes, "You're high." Like, didn't believe him. You're living in the past, Sammy. Me and the Woodland Fairies, we're living in the here and now. Come join us. Oh, he's such a dirtbag through the first half of this flick, man. Well, kids, there you have it. There is our review and our take on Blades of Glory. By the way, are you a fan of that song, the Blades of Glory song there, Phil? That they play at the end?
Definitely a weird choice, but I guess it fits with like the sports movie and
sure.
It works. But no, the music throughout this movie is good. I think of course, going with the Aerosmith song for their first performance.
Yeah. Yes.
Very funny. And then of course going with the Flash theme for their second performance.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, the scenes with them together are just the highlights of this movie. By the way, on that song is Bo Bice from American Idol. And I didn't have to look that up. I just remembered that. Yeah. But it's goofy. He wrote it to be goofy, and it's so goofy.
Yeah, it fits.
The first line is, "I'm a lone wolf in a cage." Absolute nonsense. Well, look, we've already alluded to this a little bit before. I'm going to deviate from what we usually almost always say about movies. I'm going to deviate from it. I could have lived with a part 2. I really could have. If it happened to catch the same magic and the same folks behind it, same cast. Will Ferrell, Phil, is not always the sequel guy, so it's not surprising we didn't get a part 2 here. But I thought it would have been great. I don't think there's like, oh, you ruined the first one. Phil, the first one is ridiculous. It's not like, you know what I mean? Well, we can't touch that story. Sure you can. It's a comedy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think a second movie could have worked.
The problem is, man, the guys behind this stuff in Hollywood, they'll wait multiple years before doing anything. So then it has to be, well, everybody's older. Well, now it's their kids. That's always the go-to line. Well, you can make a sequel be their kids or they're training somebody new. Like, why don't you just make a sequel 25 years ago? Wouldn't be in this boat right now. You know what I mean? So, Phil, before we get out of here, we will attempt to wrap this up and get your last word on Blades of Glory.
Very funny movie, very easy viewing. Something that if I catch it on just like a random day, I'll just leave it on because it's just so funny. The leads are very entertaining here. The story is completely nonsensical, but it's such a funny movie.
So good. Yeah, it's so good. Again, kids, no deep meaning here. The storylines are silly. They're supposed to be silly. Goofball because it's supposed to be goofball. It's hard to get any movie made. We know that. But to get a comedy film made and have it be successful and causing audiences to laugh is not the easiest thing in the world to do. But, every movie's going to have its haters. But, hey, I don't really care. I think this movie's really good. So, very funny, very entertaining. And kids, if you've never seen it, we just ruined the whole thing for you. But if you have seen it, we assume you have, then hopefully you enjoyed this one. And stay tuned, folks. More hilarity to come. More Will Ferrell to come. There's a lot more stuff we haven't talked about here yet with this guy. And we will get to it in short order. But until then, that is Blades of Glory.
Hey, thanks for listening to the show. Check out our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at 6M Podcast. We'll see you next time.